So moving ahead with the last topic, the minor connectors. So the minor connectors are defined as the connecting link between the major connector or the base of a partial dental prosthesis and the other units of prosthesis such as the clasp assembly, indirect retainers, occlusal rest or the cingulum rest. It has got a variety of functions, some listed below. It joins major connector with other component parts. It transfers and distributes functional stresses to the abutment teeth and the residual ridges. It transfers effect of retainers, rest and stabilizing components to the remainder of the denture. For the requirements, it should be rigid to transfer these stresses uniformly and to aid in the functioning of other components. It must be located within an embrasure space. It should be in the major connector at right angles. It should be thickest towards the lingual surface and tapering towards the contact area. The junctions of minor connector that join the major connector should be butt joints. Types of minor connectors. There are 4 types. The first, it joins the clasp assembly to the major connector. Second, it joins indirect retainers or the auxiliary rest to the major connector. Third, it joins the denture base to the major connector. And last, it serves as an approach arm for a vertical projection or a bar type clasp. Now, going ahead, minor connectors that join the clasp assembly to the major connector must be rigid as they support the retentive clasp and the occlusal rest. To have rigidity, they must be sufficiently bulk enough. They are located on the proximal surfaces of teeth adjacent to dentulous areas or in the embrasure between two teeth. It is broad buccolingually and thin mesoristally. The thickest portion buccolingually should be at the lingual line angle of the tooth and taper evenly to the thinnest point at the buccal line angle of the tooth. The minor connectors that join indirect retainers or the auxiliary rest to the major connector. They arise from the auxiliary rest and should join the major connectors at right angle. The joining junction should be a gentle curve. It must be located in the embrasure between teeth to prevent tongue annoyance. Now, going further ahead, minor connectors that join denture bases to the major connector type of denture bases. 3 types. The first one, lattice work construction. Second is the mesh construction. Third is the bead wire or the nail head minor connector. The first, open lattice work construction. It consists of 2 longitudinal struts with smaller struts connecting the 2 longitudinal struts. The maxillary design, in this case it consists of 2 metal struts of 12 and 16 gauge thick. The first extends longitudinally along the dentulous buccal ridge in the maxillary arch and the border of the major connector acts as the second strut. In case of mandibular design, in the mandibular arch, one strut should be positioned buccal to the crest of the ridge and the other should be lingual to the crest of the ridge. The smaller struts, 16 gauge thick smaller struts, connect the 2 struts and form the lattice work. They run over the crest of the ridge and are positioned in such a way that there is no interference to arrangement of the artificial teeth. It offers the advantages being the strongest attachment of the acrylic denture base to the removable partial denture. It's easy to reline, can be used for multiple teeth replacement. Second, the mesh construction. It is a thin sheet of metal with multiple small holes that extends over the crest of the residual ridge to the same buccal lingual posterior limits as does the lattice work minor connector. It's indicated when multiple teeth are to be replaced. However, the disadvantages are it's difficult for the acrylic resin to flow through the small holes. It's a weak attachment. The last, the bead wire or the nail head retention. The bead wire or the nail head minor connector is used with metal denture bases. No relief is provided beneath the minor connector as the acrylic resin mechanically bonds with the nail bed or the head of the minor connector. Mechanical retention, it can be made by placing beads of acrylic resin polymer on the wax denture base and investing in casting these beads. The wires or form of nail heads that project from the metal bases can be used. It is difficult to adjust the metal base and it cannot be relined in cases of ridge resorption. It's the weakest of all the 3 attachment types and can only be used on tooth supported and well-healed ridges. It offers the advantages of being hygienic because of better soft tissue response to metal. It functions successfully as there is better fit than the acrylic denture base. The minor connector that serves as an approach arm for the vertical projection or the bar type clasp. It need not be rigid unlike other minor connectors. It supports a gingivally approaching direct retainer, must not cross a soft tissue undercut and should have a smooth even taper from its origin to its tip.